Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my trusty sidekick, my partner in crime. Really, the best way to describe this person is my everything. It's at Eric Dalala.
Phil, good to see you. I'm ready for camp to start. We're getting closer here.
Yes, we're getting very close. You can kind of smell some freshly cut grass in the air.
That's my cologne.
Oh, pine, is it, or grass?
Yeah, it's like day training camp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where did you buy that?
My local King Soopers.
Yeah. Any particular part of the store?
It's kind of like if you go by the coffee aisle where you might, so to recognize that gold package elephant on the front, you're like, that's West Rock Coffee.
Then right near there
you go past that, and then that's where the cologne is.
Got it. Yeah. Pour homme for men.
Yeah, correct.
Pour homme.
Yeah.
That's some French there for you.
Thank you.
I do like,
You're a worldly man.
Yeah. I'm into colognes a little bit. Yeah. Pour homme. It's nice. Eric, enough silliness, though, here. This is our countdown to camp series, Eric. We are counting down the biggest, the hottest topics that NZ Nation wants to know about before training camp gets started here. And today's show is all about Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, who will have more receptions in 2021.
Phil, at this time of year, you got to go out and you got to cut the grass. You got to make sure the lawn is nicely trimmed. You got to make sure the hedges look really good.
Yeah. You're going to hedge?
I'm going to hedge.
Really?
I think if Drew Lock is the quarterback, that Courtland Sutton will end up with the most receptions out of those two. And I think if Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, I think Jerry Jeudy will have the most receptions.
Wow. I just didn't expect that from you. I don't think the listeners or viewers, they didn't expect that either. Because normally, when I think, okay, hard hitting, hot takes, I think Eric Dalala.
Yeah.
Not today.
Well, I think that's a take because I'm suggesting there that Jerry Jeudy has better chemistry with Teddy Bridgewater and that Courtland Sutton has it with Drew Lock.
Eric, I've done a little bit of research for today's show.
Are you feeling okay?
I hit the stats hard for this one, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm going to say Jerry Jeudy. Okay? I'm going to say Jerry Jeudy regardless of who the quarterback is.
Okay.
And that's because I firmly believe that the wide receiver position in the NFL, that rookie season, you're just feeling things out. You're trying to learn what this game is all about, trying to understand how defense is way more complex in the NFL than they are in college. I think Jerry Jeudy did that last year. Okay, he went through some learning pains. He had some drops. He had some struggles here and there. He called last season unacceptable. Now heading into his second year, just based off of even what I've seen during the offseason program, this man is ready to explode on the scene. I think he's ready to take off, and the numbers really back it up, Eric.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so last year, Jerry Jeudy had 52 receptions. Okay. Traditionally, I went and looked some of the top wide receivers in our game, okay? I'm talking about the best wide receivers in the NFL today. And I was like, I wonder what kind of jump they made from year one to year two. The numbers just line up too sweet. The numbers, it's just too perfect, Eric.
Okay,
are you ready?
Tell me.
Okay, do you think Larry Fitzgerald is a good wide receiver?
He was, yeah.
Okay, his rookie year, he caught 58 passes.
Okay.
So just 6 more than Jeudy.
Yeah.
Okay. His second year, 103. Okay.
Okay.
Julio Jones, 54 catches as a rookie, 2 more than Jerry. Okay. Yep. The next year, 79. Okay. Stephon Diggs, 52 catches.
Yep.
Same as Jerry. The next year, 84. I could go all day here. DeAndre Hopkins, 52 catches as a rookie, 76 as a sophomore. A.J. Brown, 52 catches as a rookie, 70 his second year. Allen Robinson, 48 catches as a rookie, 80 his second year. And the last one I'll give to you, DK Metcalf, 58 catches as a rookie, 83 his second year. So these guys, the top wide receivers in the game, really made a major jump here from year one to year two. And even Courtland Sutton did that. As a rookie, he caught 42 passes. His second year, 72 passes, was a Pro Bowler in 2019. So I'm expecting Jerry to really make a jump here.
I agree he's going to make a jump. I think the thing that stands out to me about some of those names you just read is that I'm not sure how much help they had or who the other receiver was there. Courtland Sutton took a big leap his second year because, especially after
Emmanuel's traded.
Yeah, there's not a lot of help there necessarily. It was Courtland Sutton, and he took advantage. He made plays for everybody who was at quarterback. Jerry Jeudy is coming into a situation where, assuming that Courtland is healthy and is able to be full go and confident in his knee, which we think will happen.
That's what Vic Fangio said.
We'll talk more on that in a second maybe, but Jerry Jeudy, as good as he might be and as big of a step as he might take, we might not see it translate as much in the stat sheet because of how good we know Courtland Sutton is and because we know he's going to get his own targets. I think it's possible that instead of like one of them having 90 catches, you could both end up in that 70 range where it's very, very even. Again, I just think we know from Courtland Sutton, he to me is the sure-handed receiver, the big-bodied guy. I think on a key third down, maybe you want to go to him. In the red zone, you want to go to him. Whereas maybe I could see Jerry's yardage total is even higher because his yards per reception is so high. You get him in space. He's able to – you don't see Jerry make as many contested catches because he's running away from these cornerbacks. And so to me, maybe he ends up with more yards, but Courtland ends up with more catches and more touchdowns. But a lot of that, Phil, is dependent on how healthy is he going to be. We heard Bradley Chubb say all offseason last year, my knee's good, I'm ready to come back from this ACL. And then he admitted after the season it took him 5 weeks or so to really get into it. If it takes Courtland a few weeks to work back into things, then the edge kind of goes to Jerry Jeudy. And it also might be, one other point there is it could be a week-to-week deal. If you have a matchup that really favors Courtland Sutton, you could see him have 8 catches and Jerry have 3 or 4, and then the next week maybe Jerry Jeudy can dominate maybe that team doesn't have a good slot corner and Jerry Jeudy can dominate there. So to me, it really could be a week-to-week thing.
Courtland Sutton's my guy. I mean, you know that, okay?
Of course.
And this is no knock on him, but, he hasn't gone and done the team drills just yet. So, I think that it's smart to take things slowly with his knee. Do the individual drills. Don't put too much pressure on that thing. But once he starts to do that, there's a little bit of a mental hurdle that you got to get over. And I have no doubt that Courtland Sutton's going to be able to do that. But, it does take a little bit of time to get used to that. You're running in traffic, you're running across the middle, you're running full speed, and then you're cutting across. It takes a little bit of time to do that. But this, to me, isn't really so much about Courtland because I do think that Courtland is going to come back and have a great season. I think that he's been working hard. He's been here at the facility training. I think Courtland Sutton is going to have a very good season next year. My thinking is Jerry is going to be so good that you got to give him the ball. You're going to have to target him way more than he was targeted last season, and he's going to be so open that it doesn't matter. You just got to give him the ball.
Well, in fairness, he was targeted the second most times of any rookie last year.
I want more.
112 targets or something like that. And that's where you look at 52 catches on 112 targets. That cannot happen.
Yes, that's true. His reception's got to go up.
And some of that we know is Drew Lock's to blame. Some of that is Jerry Jeudy to blame. I think they've both admitted they have to be better there. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's all about who are you going to trust in the big moments? And I don't know if we know that yet, but one of these guys is going to have the chemistry where when it's the fourth quarter and it's third down and you need to go somewhere, you're going to be that guy. When Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas were here, Emmanuel was that, you need a catch on third down. Emmanuel's going to slide and he's going to make that catch. Maybe that fits better with Jerry Jeudy's skill set just because he can get open off the line quickly. I don't know. We'll have to see, but something I look back on is the one game we saw those guys play together, which was in Pittsburgh. Courtland had 6 targets in the half. Jerry Jeudy had 7 targets over the course of the whole game. Some of that I think has to do with just the fact that Drew Lock's probably more comfortable with Courtland Sutton, especially at that point. Jeudy was a rookie playing in his second ever game. But it will be interesting to see how quickly Courtland can work himself back into the offense, how much of a rhythm he still has with Drew Lock, if that's who it is, or if it's Teddy Bridgewater. That's been the whole story of OTAs, right? Is Teddy Bridgewater's thrown it to Jerry Jeudy a ton, and they've got a really good connection. Well, we haven't seen Courtland Sutton out there, so it's possible that Courtland Sutton could come back in training camp, and then all of a sudden Teddy's throwing to Courtland Sutton every time. So we just don't know that yet. I think we'll have a better sense, but I do think this could be a neck-and-neck deal, Phil, where I don't think you're going to look back at the end of the year and say, Courtland has 100 catches and Jeudy has 60. I think it's going to be very close. Hopefully they can push each other, and that it's, we know receivers can be divas at times, Phil, but hopefully that they push each other in a well-natured competition and get the best out of each other.
Yeah, and just like we talked about last week with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, these guys are going to help each other. Yeah. You can't just single out one of these guys and say, okay, our priority is this guy. You got to play honest when you're guarding these two. I don't think that we're going to see 100 from either one of these guys, just because there's a lot of other wide receivers in that room. Noah Fant, we heard Drew Lock talk about his expectations for Noah Fant, says they're really high coming into this year. If Alberto is able to work his way back out onto the field, there's too many players, too many playmakers, I think, for either of these guys to get to 100. I would say for Jerry, this might be high, but I would say 80. That would be 28 more than he caught last year. So I think that Jerry had 3 touchdowns last year. Maybe if he could get to like 6, I think that would be a really good year for him. He had 856 yards last year. Maybe if he can cross 1,000, that would be nice. Maybe he busts a couple loose like he did against the Raiders there. Maybe, he is that downfield guy. We saw him do that against the Jets. And the nice thing about Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton is they are different guys. They bring different things to the team. Courtland is that guy who's going up, high balling the high pointing the ball, making those contested catches. Jerry Jeudy is more of, I'm going to be open. I'm going to beat this guy off the line. My route running is elite. So they do different things, and I think, like you mentioned, in certain situations, maybe the style of play favors somebody else versus the other guy. But I do think that I could see Jeudy getting to around 80, and I think Sutton coming back from his injury. I think if he could get around 65, right around that ballpark, that would be a great season for him too.
Well, just to give people some context here, because we're kind of just throwing out numbers. Last year, the Broncos completed 315 passes, right around there. You figure that, last year, 40 of those went to the running backs. You think that probably there's a little bit more of an emphasis on that this year. So maybe you say 50 to 60 of those catches. So you've essentially got 250 catches to spread among the entire team. And then you think, well, Noah Fant last year had 62 catches. I have a hard time believing that he's going to have fewer receptions than he did a year ago because he should only get better. And so then you say, okay, well, now there's 180 left for all these receivers. And you're right. In that case, it's hard to imagine that with Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, that one of those guys can get to 100 and you're going to split 80. And, hopefully you complete a few more passes. But
yeah.
To me, I think you're probably in the right ballpark that somebody's getting to 80. Maybe Noah Fant and one other receiver are in the 60 to 70 range. And then you've got guys like, Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler who are in maybe the 50 catch range. But I think the beauty of this offense, Phil, is that it can change from week to week. It can be really good for some guys, but it might not lead to the offensive player of the year that if Courtland Sutton wasn't here, I think Jerry Jeudy's talented enough that he could catch 100 balls. But I don't know that he's going to get that opportunity just because of how much talent there is, and they don't have to go to him every play. But we'll see how that impacts, Pro Bowl selections and things like that. But hopefully people recognize the talent, even if the pure stats aren't there.
It is possible one of those guys develops into that dependable go-to guy. We haven't necessarily seen that in a little while, but I'm thinking Josh Allen, when it's a big play, he's looking to see where 14 is,
right.
Stephon Diggs. I think that maybe Jeudy becomes that guy, maybe Sutton becomes that guy, but I agree. I think that 80 for Jeudy, 65 or so for for Sutton, and that would be some good seasons for these guys. And hopefully the totals go up for everybody, and this offense is moving the ball a little bit more, putting up some more points this year, and that's good for everybody.
It's not shabby to be in that 80 to 65 range. I mean, I'm looking at 2016 when we talked about Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas crossing the 1,000-yard mark together for the last time. Emmanuel had 79 catches, and Demaryius Thomas had 90 catches. And so, you don't need 100 catches to break the 1,000-yard mark. I think it's more in play. I actually think it's more in play for both of those guys to get to 1,000 yards than it is for one of them to get to 100 catches. But
yeah.
And if that's the case, maybe you both make the Pro Bowl and you see what happens. But the other thing that could be a detriment is we haven't seen the tight end play kind of like Virgil Green and Jeff Hireman were not really impacting where the ball was going in 2016. Noah Fant is so good that there are going to be fewer receptions to go around.
Yeah. I mean, like you look at like really good teams like the Chiefs or, some of those really good teams in Broncos history. There's only one football out there. So you do want to spread it around, but you might not give one guy who just takes off and has an insane season. So for both of these guys to have good years, though, they're going to have to rely on quarterback play, and they're going to have to, Jeudy in particular, build that chemistry with whoever that guy is so that, you're able to develop that trust and that chemistry so that when it's a big play, there's a trust factor there. So, Eric, that's interesting that we talk about quarterbacks there because next week we're talking about the quarterback battle.
Ooh,
I know.
I like that.
That's pretty much all anybody wants to talk about, right?
Yeah, we made them wait a long time, but it's coming next week.
Yeah. I mean, I figured the excitement as we get closer and closer to camp, that's when you want to talk about the meat.
Yeah.
We've given you some appetizers, some side dishes, but
you're so excited.
I think I need a microphone.
Yeah, you're
right?
so excited here.
Just knocked my microphone. I got animated.
Wow.
I'm fired up, Eric.
Yeah, you promised the audio quality would be better, but that was a little dangerous.
Sorry. My apologies. Yeah. Next week, we're going to answer this question. No hedging here. Who wins the quarterback battle? That's the question.
Wow. I'll have an answer for you.
I know that this probably happens to you all the time, but when I'm out on the streets, I'm a man of the people.
Yeah, naturally.
People come up to me and say, who's going to win this quarterback battle?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Of course.
What do you know?
Yeah, what's happening?
What's happening?
What's the vibe?
What's the tone in the quarterback room?
Exactly.
We're going to answer that next week.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Can't wait. I wish we could record right now.
Yeah. I have noticed you've been wearing that shirt a lot, Eric.
I like this shirt. It's actually a similar shirt to the one I've been wearing, but
got it.
Yeah,
it's kind of the lighting.
You have a lot of those dark blue Nike shirts, huh?
This might look like the same shirt I've been wearing, but it's kind of just, it must be this room or something. It kind of sort of makes clothes look the same.
Yeah, things look much better on Zoom than in person.
Yeah.
Definitely. I should maybe go back to that.
Eric, if people want to get involved in the show, they want to let us know, hey, you guys, you don't know what you're talking about, you're full of it. Or maybe, hey, you guys are really smart. How can people do that?
Yeah, well, if they're interested in saying that we don't know what we're talking about, at Phil Milani on Twitter with a PH. If you want to compliment us, at Eric Dalala with an A. Both have kind of unconventional spellings.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with both of us, maybe leave an email at neutralzoneshow@gmail.com. You could leave a voicemail at 707-NEUTRAL, or you could smash that subscribe button on YouTube.
Right down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leave a comment, because we love the comments. Yeah. We're going to get back to the comments. I know it's been a little bit, but we'll get back to them. You leave like a little bundle of comments underneath these. Each episode is like a little tree. We'll collect them. We'll sort through them, and we'll give the best ones to you in here in just a couple weeks.
I'm not sure what's been going on with that. Like maybe Ben Swanson is on vacation again. I don't know.
It really would not surprise me.
Yeah. I got to look at his benefits package because he's got vacation.
Unlimited PTO.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe when he gets back, he can aggregate all these, and then we can read the best ones.
He's got almost as many PTO days as you think Jerry Jeudy's going to have catches.
80, yeah. Yeah, how many weeks?
I mean, gosh.
Yeah. I mean, what is this guy doing?
He's got a good agent,
16
I guess.
Weeks or
good
something,
agent.
Yeah. Yes, he negotiated for that. Yeah. Leave a voicemail, too, 707-NEUTRAL. I like to play those out on the air. Yeah. Let us know maybe some of your predictions for the season.
Yeah, that could be nice.
Big picture type of things. Yeah. Let us know. We'll play that once we get back to training camp, get back to football a little bit. So we'll be back next week to answer the big question, the elephant in the room. Who's going to win the quarterback battle? Until then, for Eric Dalala, I'm Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.